This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Thursday, January 26th, 2023. Let's talk about the news. From Reuters, US and Germany to send scores of tanks to help Ukraine fight Russian invasion. After months of will they, won't they speculation, the governments of the US and Germany have announced that they'll be providing dozens of their most advanced battle tanks to the Ukrainian military. This has all been a minor political kerfuffle, but in essence, Germany makes the best battle tank right now, the Leopard 2, and Ukraine was keen to get some of them because they're so good and because a lot of European countries have them. But without Germany's permission and access to replacement parts, ammo, things like that, Leopard 2s donated from Poland and other militaries that have offered to send theirs wouldn't have been much good and would have violated agreements those militaries made with Germany when they bought them. Germany didn't want to be the first to take weapons donations to this much higher level, so they said they would donate some of their tanks if the US donated some of their Abrams tanks, but the US initially said they wouldn't. Those involved apparently figured out a way to make everyone happy though, as now the US is saying they will send 31 Abrams, Germany is saying they will send 14 Leopard 2s to start, and that it will approve the shipment of Leopard 2s from other countries' militaries as well. Ukraine is by all accounts thrilled about this, though they still say they'll need hundreds of these sorts of tanks, not dozens, to eventually win. And Russian officials have called this an extremely dangerous move that escalates the confrontation without elaborating. From courts, a U.S. research firm has accused Adani of pulling the largest con in corporate history. A short seller called Hindenburg Research has said that the 3rd richest person in the world, Gautam Adani, is manipulating stocks and engaged in a massive fraud scheme, quote, pulling the largest con in corporate history, end quote. This is news in part because Adani is such a prominent business person, globally and in India, where his business, Adani Group, is generally considered to be too big to fail, in the sense that it's so fundamental to the economy's functionality that the government would have to bail it out if something went awry. And it's also news because Hindenburg makes their money by identifying flaws in the operations of seemingly successful companies, taking short positions on them, which means they make money if that company's stock value goes down, and then announcing their findings to the world. So they are financially incentivized to not be wrong on this sort of thing, and they have had a pretty good track record thus far. And from BBC News, India invokes emergency laws to ban BBC Modi documentary. The Indian government has used an emergency law to pull a 2-part BBC documentary called India, the Modi Question, that looks at now Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the role he played during a series of riots in 2002. These riots, according to one foreign government report, had, quote, all the hallmarks of an ethnic cleansing, end quote, and Modi has been called complicit in the waves of violence that were sparked by the death of dozens of Hindu pilgrims, their deaths blamed on local Muslims. Nearly 1,000 Muslims died during the resultant riots, and Modi and the police forces he controlled at the time have been accused of tacitly supporting the killings by not doing much to stop them. The documentary was pulled using a law that is meant to block the spread of information during an emergency, and the government has reportedly ordered Twitter and YouTube to take down accounts that aired clips from the documentary as well. Indian opposition politicians and many international spectators have accused Modi of self-serving censorship for this takedown. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.